Oh my goodness, ladies. How many times when conflict happens do we start seeing fingers slinging and pointing at each other? Either he's the problem or I'm the problem. Do you realize that this was the very, very first thing humanity did at the very beginning of time when shame entered the world? After Adam and Eve, they ate from the tree, God asked Adam, what happened? As if God didn't already know. And Adam says, it's the woman. It's a woman you put in here with me. She gave me the fruit from the tree and I just ate it. No accountability. Then God asks Eve and he says, hey, Eve, what happened? And she's like, it was the serpent. He deceived me and I ate it. The moment shame entered humanity, so did blame. Because you see, shame has this subtle way of making us feel exposed, unsafe underneath it all, like actually defective and incredibly vulnerable. And instead of moving towards repair and connection when conflict happens in the marriage, we move into protection. Shame turns relationships into courtrooms where everyone is trying to prove who's guilty and who's innocent. And here's the deeper problem. Shame, you see, it entered the world through sin and through brokenness and the enemy's influence over this world system. You cannot ever completely avoid exposure to it. It's like a virus that gets hardwired into our stories, into our nervous system, into our beliefs, into our identities, and yes, especially even into our marriages. And then our shame starts reacting to our spouse's shame. This is fun. This is not fun. This is why your husband's actually not the problem. The shame pattern between the two of you is the problem. And this is how you know you're stuck in shame-based patterns. You show up in 1,000 different ways. Let me know if any of these sound familiar. Defensive. You're critical, self-blaming, judging, people-pleasing, stonewalling, withdrawal, bitterness, the icy cold shoulder, control, that self-blame. Why did I? Shoulda. Other people's blame. They always, never. Hyper reactive and fear. Now, I just read a list to you, and if you're like, I've never done that, then your self-awareness is probably not great because every single human has done that in some capacity of their lifetime. It doesn't matter if we do it or don't. This is what it looks like when shame has showed up. And until we start to see the real enemy underneath the behavior, we stay trapped in cycles of finger pointing. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's to blame? Who's at fault? Power over, power under. Trying to be the loudest, the biggest, the most convincing person in the room. Or maybe our defense is to stay small and invisible, the power under role. Anything to keep us feeling no shame. And honestly, oh my gosh, it's exhausting when you live there for years. My husband and I did that for years, thinking that this was the Christian marriage. It was horrible. And God, He made the way out, because here's the truth. Both people inside that pattern often carry a lot of unhealed wounds from their story. Fear responses and shame-based lies that have connected to the inmost chapters of their life experiences. And those lies, like that virus, becomes neurologically wired into survival patterns. But hear me clearly. You cannot heal your spouse's shame for them. In codependency, we can see it written all over someone else, and I can help you, and I can fix you, and I can manage you. You cannot heal another person's shame. You cannot force insight inside some other person. You're only responsible for you. And this changes everything. When we begin to see shame as the problem, it's no longer the person. And when it's not the person, I get to see the world very differently. Now, all of a sudden, I'm not defective. I'm just simply responding from a wounded belief. And they're not a jerk. Their shame may be blocking them from actually seeing who they truly are. Because healthy relationships cannot grow in a healthy fashion from shame-based identities. It's actually 100% impossible. And so healing for your marriage actually starts with you, your own self-awareness of the shame-based pattern. The moment you feel tension rise inside your body, pause and ask yourself, what am I believing right now? What about myself? What about my spouse? What about rejections? And why am I controlling right now? Where's the belief system around my worth? How about my safety or my fear? Because not every single story your nervous system tells you is true. And if the story does not align with truth, it will eventually produce destruction. This is why you feel lies in your body in places of aches and pains and pressures and tensions. You feel the lie in there. It's like God's design for humanity to say, hey, truth is not operating right now. I'm going to have this tension, pressure, or pain in your body so you recognize that the lie is on board. So instead, as you choose to stop pointing fingers, let's start to get curious about shame and ask yourself these questions. What would truth look like here? What would it sound like? What would it feel like in my body, in my words, in my response? And if you don't know, there's a book and it's called the Bible, and it is full of truth. Because God's words is just not an inspirational guide. It is a weapon against deception, shame, fear, and dysfunction. When we start to lean into that, it's powerful. Then the real work begins. How do I stop rehearsing survival patterns and start building truth patterns instead? You cannot heal a marriage while continuing to feed the lie that's been destroying it. So instead of reacting from shame with self-protection, you begin responding from truth. And when one person, you, if you're the one listening right now, you're the one, begins breaking their side of the shame-based pattern, the entire dynamic is forced to shift. Why? Because shame survives in darkness, but truth shines light into places fear once controlled. And eventually, your spouse will have to respond with something different, because shame cannot keep the same power in a marriage where truth, light, and hope are finally being practiced consistently.